So we're here with Alan Azar, composer, guitarist, songwriter. How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing really well.
All right.
June's hanging out with us today as well.
Hi, June.
June, how you been doing?
Hello. Good. It's been hot in the valley.
Yeah, it's been a continued thing. It's summer caught up with
man.
us. Yeah, it was one of those things where I was very happy just not having to use my AC, and now I have to use my AC, and my AC doesn't work as well
we
as I
had a
want.
great winter
Yeah.
this year.
It seemed like a long one, didn't it?
It was good, and it
Yeah.
rained a lot, especially,
Yeah.
I mean, for
Yeah.
LA, this is a lot of rain.
It is.
So,
Yeah, for a while there, actually back in like February or something, it seemed like it rained more of the month than it didn't, which was
yeah.
kind of crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't remember the last time
Remember
it was like that.
And last summer was even hotter than this one.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, last summer I remember I was dying from the heat.
This one has been pretty
This
hot.
one we just had like 1 week, maybe 100 degrees,
Yeah.
but now it's just like back to 90.
I was yesterday? I was teaching down in Orange County, and on the way down there, at one point, I saw the heat had gotten up to 99. I was like, oh my gosh! And then by the time I got in there, down there, because it's closer to the beach, it was down to like 88. But I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I'm so glad I wasn't there. It was like City of Industry. I was like, oh, you poor bastards. So.
Now I'm regretting talking about the weather.
Yeah, no, I think
Enough
I'm
weather.
starting to sweat more just thinking about it. But
You know,
we got
we
these cool
we
beers.
complain here in LA, but if you think about it, in the East Coast, I mean, they get colder weather and hotter. So
And
in
humidity.
winter is freezing cold, and summer they get their hundreds over there sometimes, and the humidity as well. So I think we're still better than other states and other cities.
I've lived in some other places around the country, and yeah, I'm very happy here. A lot of it is simply just due to the humidity and or rather the lack of that we have here.
Yep.
You know, the fact that you can start sweating here, you get hot, it evaporates, and that's it. It's not like you start sweating.
Actually, you know, I like a humidity. I kind of prefer a humidity than dry weather. It makes
Okay.
me sleep better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Makes me sleep better.
Never thought of it that way, but I'm always in a constant struggle with my hair in humidity. My hair just wants to get big, and you know. But
It's annoying, yeah. It gets
whatever.
annoying, it gets sticky.
yeah. So what's been up with you, man? I know that recently you released some new music.
Yep.
You know, is it a good time to talk about that? You know,
Of course, man.
How was it making your album? You know, yeah. Tell us about it, dude. How was it?
I used to play with progressive metal bands before, and this is actually my background in music. So yeah, but I reached to a point. I started to listen to those guitar virtuosos like Steve Vai and Joe Satriani, Marty Friedman, all these great artists, you know. And I got really deep into guitar playing and techniques and composition and all these kind of things. So the way it started, it was me and my brother. My brother is an amazing keyboard player. So it started just me and him jamming in the room, you know, starting to come up with some melodies and record some music. And we were like,
How old were you when you started this with your brother?
I was 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of a late bloomer in a lot of the ways.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
you had a lot of ground to cover.
But I started first playing with metal bands, with, you know, with the singer, if you want to call it, because after that everything started to be
Oh,
instrumental.
so you've been doing a bunch of stuff before working with your
I've
brother.
done a
then.
lot of things before.
Okay.
And even during this, my solo project, I was playing with other bands as well. So like my music career was everywhere. But my solo project, this is my third album. Mainly every 5 years I'm releasing one. It's kind of slow. I should be doing this more faster. But you know how it is, man. Like a project like this, it takes a lot of time to produce. And to
I'm always
record.
a fan of people, the bands, or individual songwriters who spend more time and write an album. It's full of a bunch of quality songs versus one or two quality songs and then a bunch of filler stuff, which tends to happen to bands later on, especially ones that are signed because of contractual obligations to put out so much. So I really appreciate the guys that actually would take a little bit more time, and you could tell in the quality of each song.
Yeah.
whether
And
that's-
also, those kind of music is the kind of music that I find something new every time that I listen to it. You know, there's always more layers that I can uncover. You know, because it just
Yeah.
it's worth multiple listening. It's not just
Exactly,
trendy stuff.
and the way I see it as well is when you record an album, it will have a theme. You know, recording song by song, you know, each song has a theme, but when you record an album, you have a big overall, like this album called Wonders, Mysteries, and the Archaeologist. So mainly if you know, listen to the album, you know that you're on this trip, you're going through, you know, you're traveling in the past and you're checking those archaeology sites and stuff, and like living the wonders that we live, you know, like that people lived before, you know, centuries. So it's like a trip, you know.
Well, I really appreciate that sort of songwriting too. My favorite band of all time is Iron Maiden, which a lot of bands do this, but the idea that each album, right, was a very specific theme.
Exactly.
And all the songs, even though individual, still tied into the overall theme. And I love it when any bands do that, so you can feel like as you're listening through an album, you're going along a journey, you know.
That's true. When I was composing this album, I knew what I was doing. You know, I wanted to give the listeners a trip, you know, an imagination for each song.
How is it? I've always wondered about this because, you know, as a drummer, I don't have an album out myself. I probably should. But so the idea, like when you're writing songs, you have so many songs for the album. Like, how many songs are on this album?
13.
So how do you figure out, you know, like, so you want to have a journey, you have a theme. How do you go about figuring out what songs are going to go where to get the best depiction of this journey and make sure that it goes smoothly? Because that has to be a whole thing in and of itself.
Exactly, that's the thing. Let's start with the previous album I did called The Cosmologist as well. It talks about cosmology and space and all that. If you read the titles and you listen to the music, you can feel that the first song is when we're trying to reach the space. The next song is we're in space already. The third song is about the constellation, so we're expanding in space, you know, expanding until the last song, you know, it's an inspiration called True Inspiration too. It makes you, you know, like think about the whole thing as an inspiration. So same thing in this album. We picked those in a row. It's like a story, you know, it's like a story. The first story is called The Lost Temple, for example. First song. It's the temple that everybody's looking for in a lost city. What's the name of this lost city? Atlantis. Atlantis is the last song in the album. This is when you discover all these things in archaeology, and then you reach the Atlantis, which is the lost city.
So, as you were writing the songs, let me see how to phrase it. Did you create it knowing the song order was going to go, or when it became time, did you just know already?
This is part of the production, you know, the way we think about how we can make this album. But there is some songs that I composed 4 years ago and 5 years ago. You know, I had them in my hard drive as a demo for a while, and then I had to put them in this album. You know, add those songs. Some songs I just composed last year. You know, during the recording. So it's all about imagination, how your thoughts will go. It's very tricky, man. It's good to be artistic. This is how I.
Well, it probably takes a lot of the thinking out of it if you can see it and you have a vision and everything's just kind of flowing into place like that, right? Instead of. So I know with certain bands that I play with, and it's like it comes time to choose songs. There wasn't a real solid theme, so it's just kind of like, well, this should go in front of this because of that. Versus something where it's like, well, no, it makes sense. This obviously, in the case you said, well, it makes sense for us to check out a song about looking up at the sky and figuring out all this amazing stuff there before it's like we're out there flying around in space. You know, obviously that, and so it kind of lends to itself the creativity, but in a natural sort of progression.
That's true. And the album is full of melodies, like we were talking me and June before about how progressive metal bands, like the progressive word is very complicated, you know. A lot of skills, especially now the new bands, they have like crazy skills, you know, in progressive music. It's amazing, it's beautiful. I kind of backed up a little bit from writing very complicated music, so I decided to go for more melodic music and kind of easy going, not too much technical stuff. I never been a technical player anyway, but I wanted the listeners to just feel what I'm feeling from the inside while I was writing the song.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it too complicated on them, and it also depends on the phase that you're passing through in your life, my life already is complicated, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make easy music.
I tend to view it kind of the same way. The analogy that I tend to use is, I refer to music as simply like a language, and in this sort of thing, it's like, there's all sorts of uses of language from, these super, you go to TED Talk and you watch them talking about, quantum physics, astrophysics, and all these crazy things, and the speech can be so complicated that nobody can understand it, and yet, another guy can talk about the same thing using a certain other type of language.
Exactly.
So a certain other type of people can understand language. Same way with music, it's like
100%.
you can use the same sort of thing, but say it different ways, and different people can like it. This crazy technical stuff, right? Some people that's all they want to listen to. That's like, if the more complicated, the more polyrhythms, the better. And some people, they just want to hear Bad to the Bone.
That's true.
And something like that, where it's just like, all right, I just want to hear 2 and 4, and I just want to hear somebody just singing the blues or something.
The most two famous guitar player now, I'm sure you know, is Joe Satriani and Steve Vai, another guitar player as well. But if you want to give an example about the difference between Steve Vai and Joe Satriani, Steve Vai is a genius in music, and his music is amazing, and Joe Satriani as well. But what's the difference? When you listen to Joe Satriani, you can hear his whole album without thinking what this guy is doing. You can just enjoy the music because it's very melodic and takes you, Steve Vai is more technical, more complicated, so you'll enjoy the complicated part of it. But for me personally, I can't listen to too much Steve Vai. Sometimes I take a break on that. I was like, I got what I want. I saw his techniques. I saw his crazy ideas, genius, beautiful. But then at the end of the day, I just want to put some music and just listen and drive, I just want to feel it from the inside. I just don't want to think about it.
It's funny because when I'm driving around LA, one of the things I do is listen to 88.1, which is, the Long Beach, the K-Jazz station.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like it, mellows me out and stuff like that. But then sometimes some of the stuff that comes on there, right, is just crazy, frantic stuff and all that. So it's funny because I'll be listening to jazz and it's going to be mellowing me out.
All about
all of a sudden,
mood,
just get crazy in there, and it's like all of a sudden I'm feeling myself getting more aggressive behind the wheel. It's like, okay, well, let me change to the rock station now, and all of a sudden I'm feeling a lot lighter and all that. It's like, wow.
The music moves you from the inside and puts you in a trip, and this is what it's all about. This is what it's all about.
So how old were you when you started playing?
I started playing, I was 15 years old. My dad is a musician.
Okay.
So he taught me how to
professionally?
play music. Yes, he was a professional musician. He's a bass player.
Okay.
And a keyboard player. And my uncle is a musician as well. Actually, I started learning guitar from my uncle. This is like my first stages. I used to go to my uncle. He used to teach me math.
Oh yeah.
And then when we finished lessons, it'd be like, okay, I'll give you some guitar chords, And I start, first chord, second chord, I was like, this thing sounds good, I can do it. When you figure out that you can do it, you get more excited and you'll be like, I want to do more and more and more. So, yeah, he started off with me, and then my dad is a big influence on us at home. And this is how it started, playing home music, and then my dad introduced us to rock music, and this is how it began, man. And then since then,
what kind of rock music? What was the first couple things that you can remember?
Eagles, like the easy ones. Like
the first thing I remember my mom throwing on the record player was Led Zeppelin #4. So that's what my mainstay growing up. Yeah.
Believe it or not, my dad was a big country fan. Like he liked country music. Yeah, he used to get us those. Remember the cassettes? Side A, side B. He used to get us those country music. For some reason, he used to like country music, and we were listening to country music all the time, which is an American culture.
Yeah.
So different than my culture.
Maybe that's what got you. The idea to start. Yeah. How is it that you how do you go from being 15, you know, starting to play guitar, to then deciding that, well, I guess I should ask, coming to America, did you come here specifically to play music as the prime goal coming here? Or what was...
Yes, many reasons, but this is one of the main ones. So I started at 15 playing guitar. I started to play with a lot of bands. Actually, I'm from Beirut, Lebanon. I used to live in Lebanon. So we started playing with metal and rock bands over there. And then, you know, when I get more into music, I felt that every music that I like is coming from the United States. You know, all the musicians that I like, they're from America. You know, so I started listening to all this music that taught me about the culture over here, about everything. You know, and when you watch movies, everything is about the United States. You know, it's like.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people would come here from other countries just to make it too. So it would make it seem, even when people are from other places in the world, it makes it seem like it's an American thing because they're coming out of Hollywood or too.
Yeah, I've been to the United States before moving permanently to the United States. I used to tour before with other bands, and I toured the US for like 2 or 3 times a year. Yeah, I always liked the United States. I always feel like this is the best country in the world, and this is where everybody wants to be. You know, this is why you see a lot of people trying to make it over here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, this is the best place. We can't say no about that, you know. Music is a big thing. The movie industry is big. Everything artistic and production-wise, everything is here in the United States. So everybody wants to go there to the United States to make it happen. For me, it's not, I just want to be a rock star. I came here. You know, I came here for a lot of reasons. I'm looking for a future. You know, I'm looking for stability. I'm looking to settle and what do you call it? Like, you know, the problems happening now around the world. If you do your research well, you'll understand more when I'm talking about what other countries. So if you're a different type of person that's looking for a future, United States is one of the countries that you can be settled and live your dream and do whatever you want. Technically, you're free over here.
One of the big things,
Freedom,
I think,
bro.
everybody talks, you know, they talk about the First Amendment here in the U.S. and they talk about freedom of speech, but they forget that along with that is the freedom of expression, which is one of the most powerful parts of it. It's like, you know, it's great to be able to say what we want to say and all that. That's more of a given. But the idea to express who you are, you know, it's like, you know, one of the biggest problems we have is, you know, if everybody was okay with that, it would eliminate racism. There would be so many things, so many problems be eliminated if everybody could just be okay with that. And it's that principle that allows people to come here, be who they are, and make money doing it because other people appreciate it. And there's so many places in the world that shit is shut down.
Yeah, not that it's shut down, it's just, I'm from South Korea, and it's very similar to US in many ways, but at the same time, culturally, it's just not as diverse. So growing up, I always kind of felt like I didn't really belong there culturally, because I just liked different music, while everyone else around my age was listening to pop and like boy band and stuff. I listened to like progressive metal and black metal and stuff
Same
like
thing.
that.
Same thing with me.
So they just kind of looked at me like, you know, it's
What
just,
are you doing?
Yeah, they
What
just
are you
felt
listening
weird.
to?
You know what? But it's all fine. You know, they just, you know, I didn't really care about what other people thought, but I wanted to do music, but I just couldn't find people who could play that kind of music. You know, and I had to just leave, and I was 17 when I left. And also just like how you look and what you wear and that kind of stuff they're just.
That goes into my point about the expression thing too. It's like, I wonder how many of those people would actually be willing, and some of them be happy to have actually participated in exactly what you're talking about because of cultural barriers and expectations and things like that. they don't.
But
Otherwise, if they were here without any inhibition, they would be more than happy to be like, yeah, I want to check it out, I want to listen to it, I want to play it, I want to do all this, but...
Well, it's freedom. You can do whatever you want. You can be whoever you want to be. Back home, when we started to play rock music, you know, some parts in the country, they were like against rock music. They always used to think that metal and rock...
Same way here, to one point.
Metal and rock is like satanic music, a devil, yeah, whatever. Or all these stupid things, you know, and then they allow rap music and, you know, like with bad words and all this kind of things. But
they love rap.
yeah, but rock, oh, this is for Satan. So yeah, I mean, look, I had some bad experiences.
It might be.
Huh?
It might be for Satan. You don't know. I don't know.
Why not freedom, man?
Well,
you can sing for Satan. Who cares?
The Satanists need their music too. I think, you know.
Who cares?
Who's gonna pay me the most for my music?
This is why it's freedom. You can, yeah, you can. You know, there is the satanic church, right? They're free to do whatever they want.
As long as they're not running around hurting people, hey,
exactly,
man, go
100%.
ahead and believe in it. That's awesome, dude.
If they want to look bad to the community, they will look bad. Who cares? You know, just.
The funny thing is, if they were going to the satanic church and then they were going around pulling kitties out of trees, doing bake sales and helping the community, people might not mind them so much.
Who cares?
Be like, all right, you guys can have your crazy beliefs. Keep up the good work.
Actually, their beliefs are not crazy at all. It actually makes sense.
Well, but from my understanding, having read, well, I won't get too much into it, but it's basically a form, you know, religion for the narcissist, which, you know, me first, which whatever. You don't really need to be Satanist to do that either.
Yeah, that's the thing. Be whoever you want to be. Just don't hurt somebody else. That's the whole point of it. That's the freedom, you know. This is what the United States is all about. I mean, it's very important to have your freedom. This is why
But also, it seemed to work out okay for you. Some people come, they do a lot of work to come here, and it doesn't pan out for them. But you're doing pretty well, so.
Well, if you don't like it, you can leave.
Right? I concur.
You know what I mean? I came to the United States because I love the United States. I came to the United States because I respect the law of the United States.
So did you get a visa to come here to play
Yes.
music? What were the steps that you took?
Yes, I got a work visa through a production company. I was doing some music for a documentary and reality show for a production company here in Los Angeles. So they sponsored me to come over here.
Nice.
And through this process, I continue doing my immigration papers, and now I'm a U.S. citizen.
Oh.
So I'm an American.
Yeah, I remember
very
you
happy
and
about that.
you and Chris.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys get the same day? Didn't you guys become
man,
citizens? That was
that's
awesome.
amazing, man.
Yeah.
A friend of ours, his name's Chris, very good friend of mine. He did the same process, you know, and like, funny story. We played together in a church sometimes on a Sunday. It was like, so I was playing in this church, and he told me, "Hey, man, I'm going to get my citizenship on Sunday." It was on not Sunday. On Monday. I told him, "No way, man. Me too." We went together and we got our citizenship.
That's awesome, man.
So now I call him my favorite American friend.
There you go.
So it's fun, yeah. It's a long process. It's not easy. You know now the whole situation about the immigration policies and all that. It's not easy. It's not easy. But at the same time, I understand why it's not easy. Because no one can come here just, you know, like I
grew up,
decided to go to the
my
US.
mom ran an au pair business growing up, finding au pairs for people. So she was dealing with the visa thing a lot of the time. And so a lot of the questions, you know, a lot of these people who come, they do their year, and then the question is, how do I stay longer? Which, of course, always, well,
That's what
you
I'm
know,
saying.
that leaves in the realm where you're at, where it's like, okay, you're here working legally, what do you do to then stay? So
I did it. It costs a lot of money, that's for sure. You know, there's lawyers in this country, they want to work. Understandable. But if you do it the right way, you'll get it.
yeah.
They can never stop you from reaching your goals.
Well, that's what this country wants. Is they want people that want to be here because they think it's a better place, because
That's
they
it.
believe
That's
that
my
they have
goals.
something to contribute to make life better. Whether it's, you know, providing a service to the community through through work, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a grocery bagger, whether you're a musician who's going to keep people entertained. You know, it's like
there's a lot of opportunities in this country.
Yeah.
You have to be part of the community so you can see success. You can't just stay on the other side and expect success. There's a lot of people, they come over here and they still think about their origin country. This is what they care about. They watch TV, all they watch is about their, origin country. It's like they still stuck in their own culture, but they live in the United States. And then when it's time to vote, they go to vote regarding what's better for their native country.
Yeah.
And this is a big problem we're facing here in the United States.
So, if you could give yourself some advice to say yourself, 2012, getting ready to come here and get ready to do it, preparing to make the whole transition, what sort of advice would you give yourself to better prepare than you were, or any obstacles that you had along the way?
Very interesting question.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't prepared when I came here. I wasn't prepared.
Well, I'm glad I asked them.
I didn't know anybody in LA. I have relatives in Georgia, I have relatives in Arizona, and other states as well. Some friends here and there, but not in LA. I took the risk. It was very risky. So the advice is, you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared. Otherwise, especially my first year was very struggling, in terms of getting settled, financial problems. LA is an expensive place. It's not easy, and I was a full-time musician before. Now I'm musician / producer, mixing engineer. So now I start to do other things so I can support myself.
Kind of have to here because the competition is so stiff for any one particular thing.
There's a lot of competition. Even when I look at the successful musicians, the musicians that I used to see, they play with very known bands.
Thank you.
I stopped doing that.
Yeah.
So you see those musicians, they play with very successful bands, and then I met those people. In Hollywood, they're everywhere. You meet those people. When I used to live back in Lebanon, I used to see those musicians. I think that they're wealthy, they're living good, they're living the dream and all that.
So I thought about most of them.
Yeah, this is what you think when you watch, the guitar player of Megadeth or whatever. You think, oh, these guys, they made it big, And then when you meet those people and you talk with them face to face, those people are struggling in the music business. Even they're touring with the biggest band or whatever, financially they're not happy financially.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation about
Yeah.
how to handle finances and stuff. One of the reasons why I specifically have a guy to do it is because so many stories of these people. It's like, dude, I won't use any names, but some of these guys that how much money they must have spent throughout their musical careers. It's like, well, man, if you just had somebody to help you not spend all that there.
And then you go on tour, you make this amount of money, and then you come back home. What are you gonna do this period? You need to pay your rent. you need to eat. You need to pay your insurance. You need your 401k or whatever. This is the financial problem is a big problem over here in the U.S. Especially for musicians. So you need to have something on the side just to support you.
You mean you specifically talking like a job or a side racket, something that's a form of income that's not
something? Yeah. What I see from those successful musicians, that they go on tour all the time. They see when they come back home, they work in restaurants. Most of them, they just open restaurants.
I know musicians that are, big band musicians who paint houses when they're not on tour.
Yeah. Roommates. They live with roommates.
Yeah.
This is one of the things when I moved over here, I was like, I want to settle myself first, and it took me a while.
Yeah.
It took me a while to find the right musicians to work with, the right connections, to be okay, so I can focus and move forward with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Do you find it pretty easy networking with people?
Networking, it is easy, but it's very important to meet the right people. Sometimes you meet a lot of people, but You need someone to lift you up, not someone to put you down or keep you where you're at, you know?
Yeah. Or trick you.
Yeah, there's a lot of musicians. There's a lot of successful musicians also that they reach to a point and then they back down, you know? So when you meet those people, they looking for another lift up, you know?
They're looking for that little bit of inspiration and motivation they lost at times, I think.
And what happened after this big research and stuff, what happened in the 80s over here in LA, this was the time.
Oh man, yeah, you see, dude, you just gotta watch videos of fucking the
like
Sunset
the
Strip.
80s was the Sunset Strip. This is when rock and roll music started, and this is where it stays. Like the biggest bands now in the world are the bands that they came up in the 80s and 90s. Let's not forget the 90s, but that was it.
Most of those bands were started in the 80s.
Till now, they're still gigging, they're still big. It's hard to see new bands coming up now
With any longevity.
and make it big. It's very hard. It's very hard.
Well, the whole paradigm changed, right? About it's you're doing albums. A lot of musicians I know do albums, but a lot of the top 40 stuff I see tends to be these singles. People, it's like it's easier. Well, I guess the conversation we were having about, you know, spending the time to write so that your whole album is a bunch of good songs. Well, now they're like, well, we'll just spend time. We'll make one good song. We don't need the album, just one song, and that's how it's sold. It goes up on Spotify. It's 99 cents or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like paradigm's totally
This is
changed.
more in the pop culture, in the pop music. They don't focus on albums anymore. It's all about singles. It helps in a way for rock bands if they have one song that it hits. It will support the whole album sometimes. It's been tricky because people changed, you know, the culture changed.
Yeah.
Before, like in the 80s or 90s, when you used to turn on the radio, right? Just any station. What was the hits? Led Zeppelin was hits. Eddie Van Halen, the band. Those music used to hear. Metallica used to hear like hits. Nirvana, hits. You know, this is rock music. Rock music was hits.
Funny thing is I can even remember some of these stations would play stuff like Two Live Crew, things like that. Like this rap rock versions of some of their stuff back in the day. You know, and up to you brought up the '90s, things like Cypress Hill and things like that. But still, these guys that are busy writing, it's like they're writing full albums of stuff and putting together. Yeah.
That's true, but now you turn on the radio, it's all this pop culture that we live in right now. Those are the hits. If you want to search for the music that we like and we learn to play our music, it's called the underground music. It has a special program on one station, they play it for 2 hours and that's it. Or other than that, you have to go online and find it. But if you turn on the radio right now, it's all this pop culture music. So our music in the rock industry, it's very hard to reach unless you go search for it.
Yeah, country is doing really well right now too.
Country is amazing.
Country. The funny thing is and you know this, most musicians know, for people who aren't musicians, so much of the country now is literally rock. Some of it even like rap beats and stuff like that, with country twang and country vocals put over it.
It is rock.
And it's like, it's so country. I gotta give credit to the guys in country, because it's like they're finding ways of taking from other elements of music that were successful, aren't as successful now, pulling them over into country and refreshing that. And so where my optimism lies is that maybe some of these people listening to this country stuff and hearing that will then evolve into going back, listening to rock, and then somehow coming in and picking up some of these this music now that has, for lack of a better way of putting it, maybe lost favor in popular culture, to come back around again.
Let me tell you why. If you hear the word country, you would think about Nashville. Old school, clean guitar, like village kind of music. That American traditional music. This is how you think about it, but actually it's not. Nowadays it's more as a commercial rock music. This is how I call it right now. Matter of fact, I play with a country band right now. I play with an artist called Daniel Allen. He's an amazing country singer. Me and Daniel, we used to play in a rock band called Cracking the Shell. So now we are in this project. We play country music, and people love country music for a couple of reasons. It's happy music. Anytime you hear it, you'll enjoy it.
I'm talking about half the time you're losing your dog. Your best friend got shot. The sheriff's after you.
Buy me a boat and buy me a truck to pull it. That's it, man. You heard the song?
No. Wait, maybe I have.
Buy me a boat, man. This is the biggest example of what country music
is.
Oh,
good. Buy me a boat.
Yeah.
No, check it out. So when I take drives into the Bay Area,
man.
I have the radio, so most of what's up there is country. So I'll be like, all right, I'll just check out what's hot in country now, because I figure I need to know what's happening with it, so I know what's happening.
Country
with music,
is big. The music is happy music.
Dude, but most of it's rock.
And it's rock. When Daniel called me and he's like, Alan, I have this country band and I want you to play. I told him I don't play country, and he's like, no, it's not country.
You don't have to.
We're looking for a rock guitar player.
Yeah.
We're not looking for a country player. Even though I had to work a little bit on myself, just on my tone and stuff, to get this.
Just gotta get a little more of that
this country feel, and use the slide and all this kind of things. I
enjoy
it, man.
There's
it's
the
nice.
rules that you have to learn in that style, whatever.
You just need to sound like it.
Yeah.
You know? So we've been doing a lot of gigs now, and bro, every venue we go to, it's packed. It's packed. People just want to dance.
Well,
you know the line dance, man. It's very popular.
It's like, dude, I played all these rock shows around LA, like 30, 40 people at a show on any weeknight, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is a good turnout. Mm-hmm. Go play with the Gypsy Jazz Band. It's like we can get the place packed pretty much any night. People come out and watch that. It's different than, it's just, people want something that they like, that's different, that's enjoyable, that's entertaining. I guess that's the ultimate thing, right? What it really comes down to is whether we're artists, whether we're musicians, whether we're painters, whether we're actors, we're entertainers. And if we're not entertaining, we're not shit. Mm-hmm. And so you're talking about, playing with a guy that's entertaining. I mean, it's... Yeah.
People want to drink. People want to dance. People want to hear happy music and easygoing lyrics. This is what country is.
Honestly, I mean, we were talking earlier, about, like say, a lot of the progressive stuff, and some of it's too technical for some people. It's like, well, you can just go and listen to country music. You can walk into a bar, there can be a country band playing, and you're just going to you can have a beer, and there's just going to be a tempo going, whatever. Even if you don't like the band, it tends to not even be offensive stuff. It's just something that's there. But if it's a good band, you're into it, right? And you don't have to think about it.
Music is music. Yeah. You can enjoy any music. And I didn't mean that country music is easy to play.
No, I don't mean that at all. I'm saying it's easy to listen to.
Easy to listen to, exactly.
And that's where...
Exactly.
That's what I'm talking about, the money, where the money is, and talking about entertaining and stuff. That's why that joke about, jazz musician plays, or what is it? Jazz musician plays 10,000 chords to 10 people, rock musician plays 10 chords to 10,000 people, right?
I've seen this one.
I think you're just really lucky if you just like something that a lot of people like and you're good at it. Consider yourself lucky.
That's the dream.
You know
That's
what?
the dream.
I'm totally
exactly.
I like all
100%.
totally like downer music, and you know what? Here's the thing. You said you're entertainers, right? People are entertained by different things, like what Alan was saying. Like you can like any music, so it doesn't have to be exactly happy music for someone to be entertained, right? Because some people have different temperament that they actually are more entertained by listening to something that's very heart-wrenching or even depressing or whatever, really dark, and then they feel this cathartic experience, and that's entertainment for them.
Well, I can even see with country being exactly that, because like I said, there's a lot of happy country, but there's also a lot of that country about talking about, the dog got shot, you lost your best friend, your woman left you stuff. It's like some people, that's where they're at in life, and yeah, that's what they want to hear. That's what where they want to be right then.
For me, it's
And
like this.
God forbid you the same band play the same 2 different songs. Well, now you got everybody likes you.
It's like music is
or hate you, whatever.
music is there to express something that you can't even express, but you feel it, and it does it for you when you have no words to express it, and that's how it heals you. So it doesn't have to be like if you are somebody who happen to be somebody that express something that's not really acceptable by mainstream or whatever, but you do it anyway. There is somebody in this world who will really appreciate that, and it'll be so much to them. So I think that even if you don't really fit into whatever is popular right now or trendy, you have to go for it, because that might be the greatest gift for somebody that's out there.
Yeah.
Good point.
Well, yeah, and then you bring up I guess the whole reason why we're kind of hearing stuff we're talking about is like, that's what everybody who takes a chance is going for. We're trying to shoot for the stars. We're hoping to find that what we have that we love is something that there's a market for, that there's a whole bunch of other people in the world that love it. And then the problem is maybe we have it, but maybe we're here at the wrong time. Maybe we have the best thing that the world needs, but we're just going to happen to be there when nobody's looking. And that, and maybe you'll be there at the right time, and life will be amazing and all that. But and that's the gamble, right?
It is a
but
gamble.
You're 100% not going to do it if you don't show up to try.
Exactly.
And that's, I guess,
you have to do something no matter what. You can't just sit back, like you're saying. You can't just sit back and wait for the opportunity, or say, "Oh, it's not the age for it. Let's just forget it." No, keep trying. Do whatever you can do, and even if you fail, but at least you did something.
I heard it for years that people said you can't just sit around and wait for a call to go play drums or whatever it is you're going to do and stuff. It's funny because I laughed a lot. Well, you're a good example. You hit me up for out of the blue, but here's the thing. But we've done work together. I had to initially go out and do all this stuff. Yes, I spend a lot of time waiting around for phone calls for work now. But I can't deny all the work and all the hours and everything I had to put in the past to get to that point. And it's probably not the best, obviously, if I'm out hungrily looking for work, going out playing jam nights and shit like that, I would inevitably get more work than I'm getting right now.
You have to keep on trying, and you have to think positive. Think positive about things. It will work out in a way.
Yeah, but to the other people, I think it's like you got to go out and do it. You have to try, even if you happen to be that have the best idea and you're in the spot where nobody sees it. At least you try.
I want to give a shout out also for the band members that they work with me on this album, for Leon and Kelly. These two musicians, they think the same thing like me. They're very adventurous, and in this situation now that we're living, to record an instrumental album, that's a lot of work and a lot of stamina. So without these guys, I couldn't finish this album. So by saying that is that you need to find the right people to work with. They'll lift you up.
Yeah.
By yourself, it's hard to do things by yourself. You need people to help you around. You need people to have the same targets that you have. Yeah. Also, this is a good thing for you as a musician to grow.
Yeah, man. It's I don't know of anybody who's done everything themselves. And I think if I were to meet the guy who is a success completely on his own, he's lying to himself.
When I went to the NAMM show, I go every year to the NAMM show in Anaheim, and when you see a company endorsing musicians, right? You see they're endorsing those musicians in the 80s, like we were talking in the 90s, those big stars. The new people that they endorse are YouTubers. You see those YouTubers that you watch on YouTube, you see the new companies that are endorsing these people. Now, and these people, they're not even performers. They don't go on stage and play. They just go on YouTube and play.
There's a whole new crazy, and let's not say video games. Let's say there's a whole new possibility of an emergent emerging market of music and of all sorts of other stuff in a completely virtual realm. You know, because we're talking about video games now, but like we're only calling it video games because it's been limited to how it works here. But the idea of like, you know, that Sims video game, it's similar to its life.
Yeah.
Well, what happens when you get these people that can stay in their bed there, hook up all that stuff? You know, Amazon brings everything up to their door here, food, so all they have to do is come eat, shower, whatever, and go back, lay back down at bed. And then they're living in a real world, the fake world, but they're better because...
It's crazy.
But at the same time, there's going to be a need for other types of recreation in there. Like, so, you know, it's a virtual realm, but there's still going to be the need for art in the form of music and other things.
Yeah, but
are we all going to be virtual artists, bro? Is that what's going to happen? Am I going to sit here and automatically be digitized?
Look, it's scary. I don't like it. I'm very against it.
I just don't know. I'm
very against it.
I'm not against it because I just don't know what it's going to be.
It's going to be a virtual world for sure.
Well, here's the crazy thing, man, because we're all in the realm of well, June's super young, but other than we're kind of like the last generation that grow up. I didn't have computers. Like, I was in high school when AOL came out and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the last generation. I think you're in the, where I grew up as a little kid, not having a computer screen in my face all the time.
That's true. Same here.
Kids now, that's not a reality. All them, I mean, even if their parents don't want them to do it, as soon as they leave the house, that's every place, everywhere.
This is what my brother said. My younger brother, he used to play video games a lot, right?
Yeah.
For like about 7 years, he was just consumed by video game, and you know that kind of affected his career too, and all that, and also damaged family relationships. My mom yelling at him all the time, and one day he just woke up and then looked at the side of the screen and saw how thin that was, and he just like had this like breakdown inside of him, thinking like the world that I was so consumed by is in this
Little box.
half an inch
Looking at the side of it.
screen.
Yeah.
Like he was looking at this thing, just completely consumed by it,
Yeah.
and he just
Yeah,
was
that's
like,
the
you know what, this is not real.
age,
But here's the thing, and this is where the psychology of it starts to come into play. Well, that's when he was trapped in there. But how different is staring at that little screen than putting on a pair of goggles, and now you're immersed in this thing? It's still just images. It's still literally just pixels. But now you're immersed in it, so you're stepping into this little quarter-inch thing, and so it's a crazy new thing, and it feels like this is probably an entirely separate podcast that I probably need somebody.
Yeah, that's
who
a big subject. Yeah.
One of the things I'm actually looking at investing in is Oculus Vision Tech, which is one of the companies. They appear to be the leading company in VR right now. So,
look, I love virtual reality.
I haven't tried them. I haven't tried any of that stuff.
I tried them. They're amazing.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
beautiful. And I was in my head. I was like, you know what? This is relaxation for me.
Yeah. I'm gonna wait
It's
till it's really streamlined and stuff.
But
before
it's
I
gonna
get
be
into
bigger
myself,
than that.
but,
It's
yeah.
gonna be like, this is where you live. Humans
Well,
are
that's
gonna
what I'm
reach to a
saying.
point where that's it. This is where you live. You wake up in the morning, you put this thing, and you spend your day in there. So
Well,
this
that's
is
kind of like, well,
that's the end of the world.
yeah,
but-
it's and that goes to what I'm saying about, you know, it may be that there are a bunch of people that live in that, but there may be people like us who, like, you know, have a drive to make music, to make movies, to make art, to do whatever, and we will do that in the real world for it to then be digitized and sent into this virtual world for other people. And we may even live in that world for part of a day. It might be this crazy world where literally, you know, we sleep for 8 hours, get up, we go to work, make music that gets digitalized, and then we go home, and then for 6 hours, we go into this virtual world where everybody else is living before we go to sleep to go back to work in the real world to then go.
Exactly,
You know, I mean, it's
exactly. This is what's gonna happen. Man.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
You can live in this world that you're talking about and have everything you want, but at the end of the day, your body is a physical body.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a digital world. It's an analog world, and this body needs nature.
Substance.
Needs the real world. So your body function right.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain, everything in your body needs to function right. Life gives you this power so you can function right, not the virtual world. The
What if they
virtual world will
what if they just do crazy things, hook up nodes to you that fires and stimulates muscles and stuff, so that you're actually exercising and you're not even there. They're making your body, like Matrixy style. You said it. Like,
Have you
is
watched
like,
Black Mirror, the
Yep.
series on Netflix?
Of
So
course.
there was this episode that you basically exist as your consciousness, your memories, and everything that continues to live in this system. You don't have physical body.
You know now there's schools for video games.
Hmm?
You know there's a school for video games.
Oh
now?
yeah.
You've seen it, huh?
No, I know that there's schools to teach people how to do it. You're talking about to teach people how to play video games better?
How to play video games to become YouTubers and make money. So
Yeah.
now technically the parents are taking their kids to video game school.
Which is so ironic because all you have to do is go onto YouTube and you can learn this for free.
You can, but they're who's making money now? The colleges, they're making it a
Yeah.
business.
Well, no, that's so it's a scam, dude. It really is. I mean, I
It
hate
is
to
a
say it,
scam.
but it totally is.
It is a scam.
But if somebody's stupid enough to pay for it, dude, more power to them for setting it up.
I think it's more important to be authentic in what you do and just be yourself in this madness than try to be someone else just because that's what's working right now.
Yeah. That's
Trying
what
to
you
fit
said.
in is just, you think you're fitting in, but actually you're not, because you're not really yourself. Like, where are you fitting in? You're not really fitting
But
in.
Alan does bring up a point which I think does resonate true, and especially here in America, where it's just especially in high school, kids want to fit in, so they'll go through phases, and even if it's not something they really want to do, they'll try it, they'll do it for a while, even after they're done with it, they'll put on the front they like it for a bit, so their friends don't ridicule them or whatnot.
Well, that's all fine,
And
but at the
And
end
a lot
of
of
the
it's
day,
experimentation,
You
trying
have
to
to
figure
follow
out.
the trend.
Yeah.
we
What's
need
happening.
to empower these kids who are not the same as others and regularly educate that, because if we don't help them realize that being authentic is more important than fitting in, then they're gonna keep living and developing themselves as somebody who's not really themselves. And how is that gonna serve this world? And the thing is, even if what you do doesn't really have massive following, the good thing about the internet is that you can reach out to these people now. You can find these niche market through online business and just proper marketing, you can find them.
You hear a lot of stories about these people in the beginning, and I don't know, because it's changing now. But a lot of the YouTubers who became big talked about how they would do it for like 3-4 years. And it's, you hear the standard story here about music in LA and just in general is a band being together for 10 years. It took 10 years before something happened like this. And I think a lot of it is exactly what you're saying. You got to be doing it because you wholeheartedly believe in what you're doing.
Yes.
And you can't expect everybody to just come out of the woodwork and love you because you're doing it right out the gate. You might be the best at it, but it could take so long for enough people to hear about you to build it. And the last thing I would want for anybody who's really amazing at something and really wants to do something, for them to put in 2 years, give up and think that, man, maybe it was the 3-year mark that it would have just all come together and the rest of your life would have been made doing exactly what you want to do.
Yeah, what I felt from Alan's music was exactly that. Like, I can tell that he really loved what he was doing. And he wouldn't compromise what he loves and what he's good at just because this is not what's big right now or something. He just walks his path. And that is the most beautiful thing as an artist, that you have to be authentic. Otherwise, it's just commercial product.
At the same.
This took a lot of work, man. Like, it took us a full year composing and producing and recording and doing all that. It's 1 year of work, almost every day. Yeah, but I won't regret it. Like, I'm very happy I produced this album. A good thing that I was learning lately is I'm getting a lot of emails and messages from people from Europe regarding this album. a lot of people buying it from Europe, and it's amazed me. You know, like they reach out from everywhere to you, and there's a big fan for instrumental music in Europe, in France and Sweden and England.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are buying albums from there.
Dude, that's the best way to do it, man. If you can be huge in Europe, you know, go over there, be treated like a god there, come back home, be able to walk the street, nobody knows who you are.
When they know you're an American from LA, it's a different story, you know.
Yeah, totally. So
that's funny though.
yeah. So you got anything, Jim?
No, I think that.
So, if people want to contact you either to check out your music, to book you, do you do lessons?
No.
No?
Not
All right,
anymore.
well, you might have to start that, maybe. But so,
I used to
yeah.
teach. I stopped it.
Yeah.
I like to talk
I
about
don't have the
more.
liberty to do that. I got to keep teaching.
It's your job, yeah, I
Yeah.
know. But for me, it's I used to teach a lot before, but now I just don't feel like sitting with a student and teaching a song or something.
Yeah.
Like I don't have the time for this. I would rather sit with this guy and talk about music. I feel like I can give him more than.
Just got to take my approach. I just like, all right, here's what you're learning this week. That's what I do.
I have a friend of mine who teaches guitar, and his students, they bring him like a rap song.
Yeah.
You know, like for Jay-Z or something. He's like, I want to play this song, you know, like, or Kanye West, you know, like
Right.
they bring a track for Kanye West. Like, can you teach me this song, you know? And he's like, okay, I don't know. There's no guitar. And
Like, you gotta love something like that. Teach me this song. Okay, you already got it.
Exactly. So this is why I was like, you know, I can't teach anymore. It's not something I want to do. I like to talk about music, like, and I do it for free. It's not like it's not
Well,
my business.
so and you got your production company. Okay. So if somebody wants to hire you either for music or for production, what's
Yep.
the best way for them to get a hold of you?
It's alanazar.net.
AlanAzar.net.
Yep.
Awesome.
This is my my official website. They can reach me through there, and they can find all the platform for the music and music videos or YouTube channel or everything. They can find it over there as well.
Yeah. Well, you're rather ubiquitous. If people look you up on the internet, you're fairly easy to find. So.
That's it.
Well, sir, you got anything else you want anybody to know? You know, any
No.
hidden secret skeletons in the closet you want to spill before we wrap this up?
No, man. Just thank you for having me today, man.
Yeah,
it's
man,
always
it's
nice
a
hanging out with you
pleasure.
and drink some beer with you and June. Nice to meet you, June. It was nice meeting you. And yeah, we need to hang out more, not only on virtual world.
Well, I know we'll have
we need
some
to
music.
drink beer. You can't drink beer on the computer with another person. So.
Yeah, right. I'm sure we'll have some music coming up together soon.
Yes,
but
yes,
it's
for sure.
it's great to see you doing other stuff. And man, it's you're a great guy, and I highly recommend you guys check out Alan Azar. Doing some killer stuff. Great musician, great guy, and that's just not my opinion.